Well, hello racing fans and welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for the 11th of May, Saturday at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. And as you know, it is a double header. We race alongside Hollywoodbets Greyville, so a bumper race day for you, the valued racing fan. You're spoiled for choice on where you want to play. I'm sure both centers will attract some decent pools, and they both have a lot of races, because at Hollywoodbets Greyville there are 10 races, and at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth there are 10 races. Nice to have Graham Hawkins in studio, and yeah, it's a busy afternoon, local racing, Graham.
Very busy afternoon, 20 races across the two venues and some tough and very competitive but equally exciting racing.
Well, let's get straight into it, Graham, and we'll begin in race number 1, which is an open maiden. It's over 1,200 meters. As always, I'll just give you a guide. Horses in single figures, Graham. Number 1 is at 2-1. Horse number 3 at 7-1. Number 7 is at 7-2. Then we got 8-1, number 9, 8-1, number 10, and number 11 is trading at 4-1. Doesn't form part of the exotics. How can we make some cash in race number 1?
I think by going for the second favourite, number 7, Tambourine Man. I know he's been a professional maiden. He's had 12 starts. He's had 3 seconds and 4 thirds. But this is an open maiden. This is key. It's not the ideal race for a 2-year-old. Generally speaking, in a maiden plate, a 2-year-old would receive weight from all the older horses.
Sure.
Now we've got Worldly, of course, who is the favourite, and one has to respect Worldly, and he's got 2 good runs behind his name. But he meets Tambourine Man on 12.5 kilograms worse terms and weight for age. He's giving him away 3 kilograms, and generally I'd favour the less exposed, improving younger horse, and if this was a maiden plate as opposed to an open maiden, I'd be firmly in the camp of Worldly. But I think that Tambourine Man might get his nose in front. Clearly, Worldly needs to be respected. My third choice would be the interesting runner, number 11, Song to the Moon. I say interesting because he's been tried over a variety of distances. His last 3 starts have been over 1,600, 1,600, 1,800, reverts back to 1,200 meters. Over the track and trip where he ran second to the Real Prince, so you've got to respect him. Lunga Gila's runner could make the quartets pay off bottom weight. Number 5, United We Stand. Remember, this is an open maiden. And I'm looking for improvement from number 3, 2020 Vision. He's been largely disappointed. He has his second run after being rested and gelded. He has the cheek pieces thrown on. That's a late declaration. But I think you should take a chance in this race, structuring your quartets and your trifectas with number 7, Tambourine Man, to win.
Well, Graham has taken a mathematical, calculated decision, because he's done the math. The weight for age allowance over 1,200 meters this time of the year for a 2-year-old is 9.5 kgs. So he's given you the weights, and he's saying, let's go with the older horse here on the way the weights are structured. Number 7, Tambourine Man, and that could be the value in the race. I think we'll use that as a roving banker, Graham.
I'm going to take my chances, banker it to win, with a couple of horses in the trifectas and quartets, and see what happens.
Well, there's some confidence coming through from Graham. The experience of number 7, Tambourine Man, could come to the fore in race number 1. The exotics kick off in race number 2. It's the start of the bipod, and you need to get on by 12:35. It's over 1,100 meters. Graham, the betting here, number 1, 4-1. Number 2 is at 5-1. Number 3 also at 5-1, number 4 at 9-2, 5 Bereave at 33-20, and horse number 7 at 8-1. Whilst it's a small field and it's a spread of weights from 61.5 to 51.5 kgs, there's some quality to speak about here, Graham. And I think topping the board at 33-20 is number 5 Bereave, and there's lots to like about this individual.
Very much so, Dees. This is in fact the main event on the day. There's no feature race, but it's the 165,000 Rand Cape A Stakes, and it's a small but, as you say, highly competitive field. Bereave is my top choice. I do think in this type of competition, I wouldn't be rushing to take the 16-10 or 33-20 that's on offer, because there are many that could lower his colours. He's been without a win since winning the Diadem in February of 2023, but he keeps you interested. His last 2 runs in the Cape Flying Championship and in the Diadem behind Dyson Thunderstruck indicate or suggest that he should get it right here. But questioning is interesting. He's also been tried around the turn. Very good sprint last time behind Winter Cloud. Probably 1,100 metres, a bit on the sharp side, but he's a class act. His stable companion Icy Blast received 7.5 kilograms from both Questioning and Bereave. He's also without a win since February 2023, but he's holding his form well. Mufasa's inconsistent. Tough Terrain's got 51. Jerusalem Rain there gets blinkers. That's a late declaration for number 6, Jerusalem Rain. And Rio Carrari, the old man, I think Bereave will win it. But I'm not prepared to banker him in the first leg of the bipod. I'm going to bring some cover in the form of the 2 Vaughan Marshall runners, Questioning and Icy Blast. But Bereave deserves to win it. I think he'll win it. I just think that he's a little sharp in the market given the competitive nature of the race.
I think you have every chance of doubling up your Graham if you're including a very informed stable of numbers 1 and 2 as the cover to number 5, Bereave, in leg 1 of that bipod. Place accumulated time, race number 3, 13:10, 10 past 1, 1400 meters the distance. It's a maiden plate. Number 1 at 33 to 20. Then we got horse number 6. That's now trading at 4 to 1 after opening up at 5 to 1. Hollywoodbets. By the way, number 5 is at 8 to 1. Number 8 at 6 to 1. Graham, I thought that this was a quartet play for the day, and I'm just going with the form runners. I initially said trifecta 168, but then I had to have a look at number 5, Mr. Belvedere, and I'm going to suggest a quartet box and hope for a form result here in whatever order they finish. 1, 5, 6, and 8. I think he should be good enough with that quartet, because when I have a look at the other runners, they need improving.
I think you spot on. Only 9 runners in this maiden plate, 1400 meters. Those are the 4 that stand out. I'm firmly in the camp of number 1, Groove Jet, to beat home number 6, Cliff Swallow. Groove Jet has his 3rd run as a gelding. He's got that come-on look. I think he's going to improve more. He's drawn in pole position. But Cliff Swallow, clearly, the form is there for everyone to see. Prince of Tibet, knocking very loudly at the door, but doesn't really ever seem to threaten the winner. While consistently placed, he never seems to really challenge for that top spot. And clearly number 5, Mr. Belvedere, who also gets blinkers, by the way. The blinkers are a late declaration for number 5, Mr. Belvedere. Those are the top 4 in the race. Clearly you can box the 4, and then you can take additional, more aggressive perms by perhaps going 1 and 6, by 1 and 6, by 5 and 8, by 5 and 8. But I'm going to go with Groove Jet. I'm going to banker him in my bipod, and I'm going to banker him on my place accumulator. For a change, the bipod is not my suggested bet. I've gone with Jackpot 2, which starts in race 7, but we'll get to that later on. But yes, I think those 4 will dominate, but I'm expecting Groove Jet to come out on top.
Graham expecting a form result here in race number 3, and I like the way he has played this quartet aggressively. If you're not in the quartet camp, then maybe this could be a very good trifecta. 1-6, by 1-6, by 5 and 8, and that will cost you 2 rand. And if you want to play the cover quartet, well, it's 1, 5, 6, and 8 boxed, and they're trying to beat the more fancied runners there. The pick 6 will begin at 13:45. It's over 1,800 meters. It's a maiden plate. Let's bring up the field and have a look at the betting here. Horses in single figures, Graham. Number 1 at 33 to 20. Then we got number 3 at 5 to 1. 4 at 7 to 1. Horse number 5 at 7 to 1. I like the look of Brett Crawford's runner here called Aladdin's Lamp. That's trading at 5 to 2. Doesn't surprise me that the horse is fancied. And then 9 is at 8 to 1. I know the form line hasn't worked out with Aladdin's Champ when you pull out its last start, Graham, but considering the manner in which he was finishing off that race, I think he's crying out for the extra distance.
The extra distance will definitely suit. He's out of a Jackpot mare. As you say, he's a fast improving horse. He's only had 3 starts so far and will likely appreciate the step up in trip from 1,400 to 1,800. The same comment applies for me to number 1, Water Dragon. He's out of a Captain mare, so he's not guaranteed to stay, but I think there's something about the son of Rafif, Water Dragon. Good second behind Montlazier last time out. So my top choice in the race would be number 1, Water Dragon. Again, I'm expecting a form result in the opening leg of the pick 6's maiden plate over 1,800 meters. They're tricky races to come, but I'm not expecting an upset here. There are only 3 runners worth mentioning. 1, Water Dragon, 3 at 12, Filante, and the one you picked out, number 7, Aladdin's Lamp. Those are the only 3 I'm prepared to give a mention to. I know that Jack in the Green has got some form in open maidens. Maremi, Gorge, French Trip has been there and thereabouts, also in open maidens. This is not an open maiden. This is a proper maiden plate. 1, 3, and 7 are, for me, the only 3 runners that can really end up in the winner's enclosure. So I'd be surprised from a pick 6 point of view if the winner came from one outside of those 3. I'm marginally in the camp of number 1, Water Dragon. I'm going to go on a leap of faith that he, along with number 7, Aladdin's Lamp, will appreciate stepping up to 1,800 meters. I think Aladdin's Lamp is more certain to get the 1,800 meters than Water Dragon. And Etoile Falante, well, what you see is what you get. He's having his 10th start in the maidens, but he'll be competitive. So here again, the top 2 choices, 1 Water Dragon and 7 Aladdin's Lamp, and 3 Etoile Falante. And I'd be surprised if that trifecta didn't work out, those box numbers 1, 3, and 7.
Well, that is a big help for the Pick Six, because if you can narrow things down here in leg number 1, especially to 3 runners, then you're minimizing your spend in a big way. 1, 3, and 7 in numerical order. But as you heard from Graham, if he had to tip them, he'll possibly tip 1, 7, and 3 in race number 4. Race number 5, Jackpot 1, 1,600 meters, will bring up the field. Number 1 at 8-1. 2 is at 6-1, Graham. Horse number 4, Master of Paris. This is priced up at 18-10. 5 at 6-1. There is money for number 6. That is now at 9-4, and it's double figures the balance. What are we doing here, Graham? Is the right horse at the top of betting the boards in number 4, Master of Paris?
Look, he won after a very, very long time, and he'd been threatening to win. He met a very modest field when he beat To the Moon and Back. He looked the obvious choice in that race. He got the job done. I think he's going to prove to be consistent in this sort of class, so he'll run us another good race. But number 6, Green Mandarin, won out of the blue last time out, but beat forthcoming, and that came out to frank the form by winning in a strong race by 3 lengths. So perhaps number 6, Green Mandarin, has turned the corner. Number 5, Augusta Blue, always there and thereabouts. I'm expecting a better run from Fair Advantage. Norshan and Shavut, they represent the sponsor of this race, Vaughan Marshall Racing. 2 Norshan and 3 Shavut. I'm sure he'd like to take some of his own cash back. And expect a better run from Shavut. That was his first run last time since, in April. Prior to that, he hadn't run since November. So I think this is very competitive, because I'm not sure I can trust Master of Paris. I'm not sure I can trust Green Mandarin to deliver the same performance that he did last time. As I say, Augusta Blue normally finishes on the heels of the placed horses, always there and thereabout. But this is a Cape Sea Stakes. It's not a handicap, so they're evenly matched. So yeah, I think that this is a race where I'm certainly going to go wide as far as Jackpot 1 is concerned, and as far as the Pick Six is concerned, because although Master of Paris and Green Mandarin look the obvious choices in the small field and form, I'm not sure that one. I think they are vulnerable. Green Mandarin would get my slight vote on the strength of that victory over forthcoming that was so solidly franked. And he might well deliver with some ease, and he might have turned the corner. He's beautifully bred, and the Glen Cotson stables back in form. Lots of things point to another Green Mandarin victory. But if he gets beat and if Master of Paris doesn't turn up, then this race is wide open.
Well, that could be the play then, because it's 8 runners, unless you're going to minimize it to 4 runners. Then the suggestion is play for a result here in leg 1 of the Jackpot. Race number 6, 1,600 meters, and this is how they are betting here, Graham, when we pull up the field. Number 2, Big Unit, that has been supported. Anti-post Hollywoodbets 5-2 into 2-1. Number 4 at 6-1, 5 at 6-1, 7 at 5-1. We got horse number 8 at 8-1 and number 9 at 6-1. There is a horse here that's been kind to you on the show in the past, Graham, called Rule of Thumb, who's now trading at 8-1. Does he get the nod from you? Because I like number 2, Big Unit, a lot here, Graham.
Yeah, I think I'm sitting on the fence with Rule of Thumb on this occasion. I think he might need one more run. I also think that, when the rains start to come and the track starts to really soften up, they are suggesting there could be a bit of rain around before this race meeting. We record on Friday morning, as everybody knows. I think when the going softens up properly, then Rule of Thumb will come back into play, as will many of the other horses who have perhaps been running slightly below their best on the faster, firmer tracks. I'm also in the camp of number 2, Big Unit. I think depending on how you structure your pick sixes, you might have to banker this one. because we've got a very tough race, in my opinion, race 5, which may not turn out to be tough, but certainly I'm prepared to go the field in race 5, which we've already discussed. The 7th race is a nightmare. So here we've got to make a choice. So number 2, Big Unit, is my clear first choice. The dangers would be, I'm interested in number 4, Holding Thumbs, because Glenn Cotson has always had a very high regard for this 3-year-old son of Vercingetorix. He was gelded on the 13th of March, so he has his first run as a gelding. So watch for big improvement from number 4, Holding Thumbs. Kitchakal keeps one interested, and so does Quartermain. The form of Quartermain is good. 3rd to Pomodora's Jet, 4th to Tyrion Lannister. Look at Sean Veal's record aboard this horse. 4 rides, 2 wins, 3rd and a 4th. He's always dangerous, is Quartermain. Last time out, he was drawn 12 out of 12 over 1,600 metres. Again, he's drawn widest of all, but there are only 9 runners. But they're all going to have to go some, I think, to beat number 2, Big Unit. He was absolutely beaten a whisker last time by All About Rod. He's drawn in gate 2. In his last 3 runs, 10 out of 14, 11 out of 11, 11 out of 12. He's a draw strike of note.
Correct.
And that should work in his favour.
Yeah, I think Graham has summed it up beautifully there with number 2, Big Unit, because that is clear to see. And all he needs to do now is have a position and find the same type of finish that he's found at his last 2 starts coming from off the speed. So, striking position, and it could be big for Big Unit. And just to add on number 4, Hold Thumbs, he's also blinkers on for the first time there. So, maybe that could be the cover. But Big Unit or Wide Year in race number 6. Then on to Jackpot 2, race number 7 with 10 races carded. This will be leg 1 of Jackpot 2 over 1,400 meters. You heard Graham mention that my suggested bet on the show is Jackpot 2, so we'll be listening in now on how he's played it. So race number 7, Graham, the betting, number 1 at 7-2, horse number 2 at 7-1, number 6 is 6-1, and then it's all the way down to number 13 at 5-1. It's double figures, the balance. So, Graham, we got 14 runners to negotiate here in race number 7.
Well, it is my bet of choice for this meeting, but it's oh so simple in the first leg.
Yes, it is.
Field, as you'll see later on, field,
Sure.
because it's a nightmare of a race. I can't be of too much help. Robert Carty's picked up the ride of number 3, Queen Bomi. Apprentice Sosibo's riding number 4, Destined to Dance. Cheek pieces go on Adam Marcus's runner, number 6, Dream Searcher. I think Adam will have a good day. He's got some nice runners, Bereave, Augusta Blue, etc. He'll have a nice day. Little Miss Pink ran better last time, but can never be relied on. So my each way play in the race, we were on the button with Give Me a Rainbow during the week at Hollywoodbets Greyville. It was surprising to see him drift all the way out to 20-1.
16 ran on the total.
Amazing. But anyway, that's history. We've got to look forward. And so my each way play in the race, from a bad draw, we Senora Victoria, number 13. I think she was below par last time out, but she was hopelessly placed. Again, she's cracked a bad draw. But Sean Veal gets a chance to steer her home from off the pace. She will be well back. She'll be ridden for luck. She'll have to come through them. And but she's my each way play in the race, number 13, Senora Victoria. But let's keep it short and sweet, these, because I can't be of much help here. Jackpot 2 is my chosen bet for this race meeting, and I've gone the field.
Well, Graham is hoping for a result here, the way he's played it, and included the field in leg 1 of Jackpot 2, race number 7. Race number 8, this is over 1,200 meters. It's a class 5, Graham. When we bring up the field, we'll see how they're betting. Yep, they are got a horse here at 11-10 that won on debut. There was confidence in the betting market for this individual. He's a 2-year-old son of Vercingetorix, and they've priced him up 11-10. There is a scratching in the race that may affect the betting, and I haven't jotted the betting down after the scratching because the source was trading at 11-2 there, so there may be adjustments. But of the balance of the runners, Graham, in single figures, number 7 is at 4-1, horse number 8 at 5-1, and that is it. Your thoughts on what you witnessed and what you saw first up with this horse, number 5, for Andre Nel and Platinum Racing. He seemed to be a horse that knew what to do. You know, we talk about inexperience and greenness, etc. He showed none of that first time out, Graham.
I thought it was a 5-star performance. The money was down. He's got a 5-star pedigree by Vercingetorix out of Kutazini. His stable companion number 9 on board is the one that has been scratched. It's not easy for a 2-year-old to come out in a handicap, win under 61, but it is a Class 5 race. He could be anything in the making. So I'm taking my chances here, Dees. I'm going to bank a number 5 Otaniqua in the jackpot, as you will see later on when they bring up my perm. If he doesn't win, I don't know what will, because Look Forward promises much, delivers little, and is still a maiden running in a Class 5 handicap. She has run in Class 5 handicaps before and run well, but without getting a nose in front. She's having a 21st start without winning. Shifting Path is extremely limited. Good second behind Wordsworth last time out, but is not necessarily going to repeat that kind of effort. If he does, he'll be a threat. Seeking Peace when caught in the right moon. If 3 runs back, she won in the boardroom against Beneath the Moon, so she actually hasn't crossed the line first for a while. Seeking Peace. And Gravity, poor post maiden form. King Mo, limited morning. You know, if Otaniqua has got any kind of real class, and I suspect that he has tons of it, I think he has class in buckets, then I think he'll win it. And certainly he's my banker in Jackpot 2 and would also be my banker in the Pick 6.
As Graham would say in the sales ring, the hammer's up, and so Otaniqua, to you the valued racing fan. Hopefully it arrives, because that's the banker in Jackpot 2. Horse number 5, Otaniqua, in race number 8, and he's could be on the button there with a horse that's progressive, and on what he's shown first time out, there's plenty more to come. Race number 9, 1,200 meters. How they're betting here, Graham, is like this. Number 1 at 9-4. Number 2 at 9-2. Horse number 4 is at 9-2. And then we go to number 11, Garandabai, at 13-2. What are we doing here, Graham? Because I've jotted down some numbers, and I'm hoping that we are on the same page. There are 11 runners that go to post. Just in numerical order, number 1, obvious chance. 2 cannot be overlooked. Horse number 4, Night Bomber. On that last start between himself and number 11, I think we're going to have to include both runners there. So 4 and 11 will get my vote. And there's just one other runner that I just put question mark, and that's number 8, Stars in Heaven. But he took a bit of time to crack the maiden. I don't know how much more to come from him. But just the 4 runners, 1, 2, 4, and 11, Graham?
Yes, I think the betting has got it right, except that I'm surprised that Oliver is the one at the top of the boards, steps back from 1,400 to 1,200. I'm not suggesting that Oliver can't win it. He's certainly in my play. I've gone, like you have, with numbers 1, Oliver, 2, Night Tiger, 4, Night Bomber, and 11, Grand Bay. Obviously, Brett Crawford's 2 runners finished 1-2 last time. I'm expecting Night Bomber to perhaps finish ahead of Grand Bay this time, but Night Tiger, very much alive, is always a threat over this track and trip. It's interesting that Oliver steps back and gets blinkers on as opposed to cheek pieces. So there's been a change of equipment for Oliver, which might work in his favour. But I think he'll drift from that early price of 9-4 come race time. Not that there's going to be a strong market leader in the race. So those are the 4 that I've included in my play. My top choice would be number 4, Night Bomber. But if there was to be one other horse, you mentioned one other, number 8, Stars in Heaven. I'll sit on the fence with Stars in Heaven. That was a poor maiden race, beating King Viserys, who runs earlier and is not really fancied to win. But Boogified remains mystified for me.
Sure.
I don't know what to make of that last run. He was pulled out of the race, essentially. But if you judge him on the form to All About Al and Riverstone, and he's a Justify, one of the leading stallions, young stallions in the world, is beautifully bred. I just can't believe he's not better, and I can't believe he's going to die a one-time winner. So I still think there's plenty of upside for Boogified, but how much faith can you have him after pulling out of his last run? So if you were to add a 5th in my book, it would be number 3, Boogified. But in order of preference, I'm going with numbers 4, Night Bomber, 11, Grand Bay for a Crawford 1-2 repeat finish. Number 2, Night Tiger, very much alive. My 4th choice would be Oliver, but it's interesting with the blinkers on and the cheek pieces off and stepping back in trips. So maybe he'll have a greater resolution. He's always shown a lack of resolution in a tight finish, Oliver. He always comes through to win a race and then just doesn't finish it off over the last 50 metres. Stepping back to 1,200 metres might be a masterstroke.
And cheek pieces off and blinkers on. Maybe that could be the key as well. Maybe Oliver could finally put his head in front, as Graham mentioned. Just not there with all those seconds that he's had in his post-maiden form. But 1, 2, 4, and 11 for Graham, and he's suggesting that if you're looking for one more, he'll give the vote to number 3, Boogie Fight. Let's close things off at race number 10. It's over 1,000 meters, and all things being equal, we should close off this meeting at 17:15, a quarter past 5. How are they betting here? Well, number 2 is at 4 to 1. We got number 4, that is a scratching. This betting was given and taken down prior to the scratching. 5 is at 8 to 1. Number 6, Graham, is trading at 13 to 10, the recent maiden winner, but a fluent, facile winner at that, at very restrictive odds when winning last time out. That's 13 to 10. And then horse number 8 is at 5 to 1. Yeah, I don't know what we are doing here, Graham. In your jackpot, you're going to possibly read out your suggested bets at the end of the show. But what feel do you get out of this race? You know, we got a 13 to 10 shot that it separated itself from the balance of the field. If the fixed odds betting market is to be used as a guide, once you look past that, it becomes a bit tricky.
It does. It's an interesting, Tanneron is very interesting. 2-year-old. Second on debut to Sahara Cat, excellent run, followed up by beating Artiste. Artiste came out to win, so there's no question marks around the form. Now, I don't want to stand up to scrutiny in the fact that I've banked Otaniqua as a 2-year-old in the second leg of Jackpot 2, which is race 8, and I'm now looking to beat Tanneron.
Sure.
There's a slight difference. Otaniqua comes out in a class 5, where the average merit rating is 64. Tanneron reappears in a class 4, where the average rating is a 76. So she's theoretically, and certainly it appears that way, she's meeting stronger opposition, more experienced opposition. But I'm expecting number 6, Tanneron, to win. So if you wanted to play Jackpot 2 aggressively, it's field by banker, by field by banker. If that's the way you wanted to play it. That's not the way I've suggested playing it. I'm going to try and cover with number 6, Tanneron. One horse that I do like to run a good race is number 5, Night Vigil, at a big price. I know Sean Humby has not been firing on all 4 cylinders. He's running a very small yard, but he knows what it takes to saddle a winner. And I think Night Vigil is going to run well. Palo Queen has to run well. She always does. And then it's interesting, a rematch between Tequila Sky and Strata. Now, they met obviously on a number of occasions in the maidens. And in fact, if you go back to the 6th of February, in the maiden plates, Strata beat Tequila Sky by half a length at level weights, and they meet at level weights again. And in some of their defeats, there's been nothing much to choose between them. So wherever Tequila Sky runs, Strata should run, and Strata ran well, beating Palo Queen last time. And sometimes these nice fillies that battle to win a maiden, but they hold their form in the lower class handicaps. So I wouldn't be drawing a line through Tequila Sky. So Tanneron has to be. She's shown exceptional promise. Her form has stood up to scrutiny. She's got to be the one to beat. Unlike Otaniqua, who runs in a class 5, she reappears in a class 4, but she just may carry too many guns for them. So there's a number of ways of playing this, but in the suggested jackpot that you will see on screen a little later on, I've decided to bank Otaniqua and go against Tanneron. And maybe I'll take 2 points where actually I bank Tanneron in the last leg and cover Otaniqua in the previous leg, because these 2-year-olds are key runners on this card.
Yeah, it looks
Otaniqua and Tanneron.
It looks that way. We know that Otaniqua a winner on debut, Tanneron winning early at the second start, and the more I look past Tanneron here, Graham, it actually becomes a very hard race, because even this horse, she's my captain. She's the proven course and distance horse. I know that she hasn't been herself.
And she's been declared to race with the Alamites, so don't be fooled with that.
Correct.
That's a late declaration. The Alamites go on number 1. She's my captain, and that might be a positive. Indication that they're thinking she's going to run well. She hasn't run since January, but as you say, she's got great. She's another, I think, with a bit of cut in the ground. You'll see a lot of these horses
turn the form around
as a bit of rain starts to fall. Obviously the going is still quick, the going is still fast. Not enough rain has fallen, but as the rains come and as we get into the meat of winter, you're going to see a lot of form turning around.
Well, I think the race number 10 deserved its airtime. It's the last race on the card, and hopefully it's not the race that you needed most, considering the results throughout the day. But Graham has given his suggested bet, and as you heard on the show, he has suggested Jackpot 2 that begins in race number 7. Take it away, Graham.
Thanks, Dees. Jackpot 2 starts race 7, and that's off at 15:30. So we're going the field in race 7, which is the Cape Sea Stakes for fillies and mares wide open contest. Banker number 5, Otaniqua in the second leg. Third leg, numbers 1, 2, 4, and 11. If you want to throw in number 3, Boogified, I would not put you off that, but 1, 2, 4, 11, the principal contenders. And the last leg, numbers 2, Palo Queen, 5, Night Vigil, 6, Tanaron, who will prove difficult to beat, 7, Tequila Sky, and 8, Strata. And as discussed with Dees, if you want to throw in number 1, She's My Captain, who's now been fitted with Alamites. That wasn't the case when I actually submitted this pick 6, Jackpot 2 Perm. So if you want to throw in number 1 at the back end as well, that wouldn't put you off that either. So that's my suggested Jackpot 2 Perm, but the key runner is obviously Otaniqua, and maybe also Tanaron in the last. So another option would be to take field by banker by field by banker and hope to get 2 really big results in those other 2 races.
Well, talking about options, as Grant mentioned, there's plenty of options on offer the way he's analysed this card from races 1 through to 10, and we thank Graham for his time. And to you, the valued racing fan, on behalf of the entire team at Gallop TV, have a blast, find all the winners, and hopefully it turns out to be a very successful day for you, finding all the winners at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. Until we meet again, you take care. Salanigashle.